My name is Grant Keller, and the only thing I've ever trusted more than my tools is the sound of my own bad decisions. The lathe still ticked as it cooled, metal contracting in the silence. I'd been working on a custom exhaust manifold for a '67 Mustang, and my back was reminding me I wasn't 20 anymore. Hell, I wasn't 40 anymore either. The floor was cold concrete, oil-stained and cracked in places I kept meaning to fix. The smell of cutting fluid and steel dust hung in the air like incense in a church. This place was my church, had been for 30 years. I heard the door open behind me, didn't need to turn around to know it was Adam. My son had a particular way of walking, always had. Careful, measured, like he was afraid of leaving footprints. When he was 8, he used to sit on that same stool by the drill press, watching me work, asking questions about torque and thread pitch. Now he wore button-down shirts that cost more than my best wrench set. "Working late," he said. Not a question. "Manifolds due Friday." I wiped my hands on a rag that was more grease than cloth. "What brings you by?" Adam stepped into the light. 29 years old, hair gelled back, shoes shined to a mirror finish. He worked as an operations manager at Crossroads Logistics, the big distribution center that had swallowed up half the old factory district. Made decent money, I supposed. Enough to make him forget where he came from. "Wanted to talk to you about something." He pulled out his phone, swiped a few times. "I've been working on a business plan with Graham and Natalie. Real opportunity here, Dad. We're calling it Keller-Pike Fabrication." The name hit me wrong. Keller-Pike? Yeah. Combining our families, you know. Modern approach. We could expand your client base, get you into contracts with the big logistics companies. I set down the rag. "This workshop's name is Grant Keller Precision Metalworks. Has been since 1995. "Right, but that's kind of the thing." Adam's voice took on that tone, the one he probably used in meetings. Reasonable, patient, condescending. "The name doesn't really capture what we could become. Graham thinks we could triple revenue in 2 years if we modernize the brand." "Graham thinks..." I turned to face him fully. "Your father-in-law's in construction. What's he know about precision metalwork?" "He knows business, and he knows this location is valuable, Dad. You're sitting on prime real estate near the new development zone. We could leverage that." Leverage. I hated that word. People who said leverage usually meant take. "So what's this business plan?" I asked. Adam brightened up, started swiping through his phone. "Here, look, I've got the preliminary docs. We'd restructure as an LLC, bring you on as chief fabricator, and Graham's company would handle the property management side. Natalie would do HR and operations, clean structure, proper hierarchy." I looked at his screen, saw my workshop's address listed under primary assets, saw projections and charts, and a lot of words that basically meant they wanted to turn my life's work into a line item on a spreadsheet. "You already put my address on this?" "It's just preliminary paperwork, Dad. Nothing's filed yet. Just exploring options." Exploring options. I handed his phone back, without asking me. "I'm asking now." "No, you're telling. There's a difference." Adam's jaw tightened. I'd seen that look before, usually right before he decided I was being difficult. "Look, I'm trying to include you in this. Graham and Natalie are excited about the potential. We could really build something here." "I already built something." I gestured around the workshop. "Right here. Took me 3 decades. "Yeah, and it's been the same thing for 3 decades. That's the problem." He put his phone away. "The market's changing. Small independent shops like this? You need scale, efficiency, modern processes. Or you need to get out while you still can." "Get out," I repeated. "Retire. Let us take it from here. You've earned it, Dad. You could relax, travel, whatever you want. Natalie's already been looking at properties. Nice place down by the lake. Good fishing. You'd love it." So that was the play. Ease me out. Park me somewhere quiet. Take the keys. I looked at my son and wondered when exactly he'd stopped being mine and started being theirs. "I'm not interested," I said. "Just think about it." "I don't need to think about it. Answer's no." Adam's expression shifted, something harder sliding behind his eyes. "Dad, I'm trying to help you here. Don't be stubborn just because it wasn't your idea." "Stubborn?" I almost laughed. "That what your wife calls it?" "She calls it being realistic. You're almost 60. How much longer can you keep doing this? What happens when your back gives out? When your hands start shaking? You've got no succession plan, no insurance worth a damn, no safety net. We're offering you one. By taking my workshop. By investing in it. By growing it into something that could actually support multiple families instead of just barely keeping you afloat." Barely keeping me afloat. The kid made 70 grand a year, and he thought I was drowning. I cleared close to 90 in a good year, thank you very much, and I owned this building outright. But I didn't say that. Didn't seem worth it. "Get out," I said quietly. "Dad, I've got work to finish, and you've got a wife waiting. Go home, Adam." He stood there a moment longer, then shook his head. "Fine. But think about what I said. Wedding's in 2 weeks. We can talk more then." After he left, I went back to the workbench. Found something that stopped me cold. Adam's tablet, left on the counter by the lathe. Must have set it down while he was talking. The screen was still lit. I shouldn't have looked. Probably broke a dozen privacy rules. But my workshop, my rules. The document on screen was titled, "Expansion Proposal, Keller-Pike Fabrication." I scrolled down, saw financial projections, market analysis, a timeline that had me signing over the property deed by the end of the year. And at the bottom, under Secured Collateral, was my workshop's address and assessed value. They'd already listed my building as collateral, as if I'd agreed, as if my signature was just a formality waiting to happen. I set the tablet down carefully, hands not quite steady. Then I pulled out my phone and took pictures of every page, every chart, every projection that assumed my life's work was already theirs. The manifold could wait until morning. I had other things to think about now. My wife, Lena, was still awake when I got home around 2. She worked at the old boardwalk amusement park on the edge of town. Coastal Pier, they called it, though we were nowhere near a coast. It was really just a collection of arcade games, a small Ferris wheel, snack stands, and a lot of peeling paint and neon lights that flickered when the wind blew. She did bookkeeping for them, kept track of ticket sales and vendor payments. Before that, she'd helped me with the workshop's books. Woman had a mind like a calculator and eyes that saw through bullshit at 50 paces. She was sitting at the kitchen table with her reading glasses on, laptop open, but she looked up when I walked in. "You look grim," she said. I poured myself a bourbon, neat, sat down across from her. "Adam came by the shop tonight." "At midnight?" "Before that. Around 10. I told her about the business plan, the preliminary documents, the collateral listing, showed her the photos on my phone. Lena studied them, her expression growing colder with each swipe. "They listed your workshop as secured collateral without your signature?" "Preliminary paperwork," he called it, "just exploring options." "That's fraud preparation, Grant. They're setting up a structure where they can claim you verbally agreed or implied consent." She zoomed in on one section. "See this? They're projecting you'll transfer ownership by December. That's 6 months away. This isn't exploration. This is a timeline." "Yeah, I got that feeling." She took off her glasses, rubbed her eyes. Lena was 52, still had the sharp cheekbones and direct stare that had made me walk across a bar 30 years ago to ask her to dance. She'd said no the first time. Made me work for it. I'd always loved that about her. "I heard something yesterday," she said. "Didn't think much of it then, but now—" She trailed off. "What?" "I was closing out the registers at the pier. Natalie was there with two of her friends over by the ring toss. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but they were loud. She was talking about finally getting the keys to that greasy cave and how she was planning to gut it and turn it into something presentable. The bourbon burned going down. She call it that? Greasy cave? Her exact words. Then she laughed and said Graham told her the land's too valuable to waste on nostalgia. Lena's jaw set. I wanted to walk over there and throw her in the ball pit, but I figured you'd want to know first. Adam thinks I should retire. Said they've been looking at properties by the lake. Of course they have. Get you out of the way, take the workshop, redevelop the land. Probably been planning this for months. I drank more bourbon. Lena watched me, and I could see the gears turning behind her eyes. You're going to fight this, she said. It wasn't a question. Yeah. Good, because I've been keeping an eye on things. Want to see something interesting? She turned her laptop around, showed me a spreadsheet. This is our joint checking account, the one we set up for Adam when he was in college, remember? We left it active in case he ever needed emergency money. I remember. 3 weeks ago, he withdrew $5,000. Memo said, deposit, business venture. I called the bank. He used our routing number to co-sign a loan application. Didn't list you as primary, but he used the account as proof of family backing. I stared at the screen. He took out a loan using our account? As supporting evidence. Technically legal if the account's joint, but he never asked permission. And the loan? It's with Graham's bank. Want to guess what it's for? Let me guess. Keller-Pike Fabrication startup costs. Close. Down payment on equipment and property improvements. They're spending your money to take your property. It's almost elegant if it wasn't so goddamn sleazy. My phone buzzed. Text message from Mia, my niece. She was 26, worked as a bartender at O'Malley's sports bar downtown, and had a talent for hearing things people thought they were saying quietly. The message was short. Uncle Grant, you need to see this. Attached was a screenshot. Group chat. I recognized Adam's profile picture, Natalie's, and Graham's. The conversation was from yesterday. Graham. Pushing the timeline up, want him signing retirement paperwork at the wedding, public pressure. Natalie. He's stubborn. Might need alternative approach. I can handle it. Adam. Let's keep it friendly. He's still my dad. Natalie. Your dad's a liability. The sooner he's out, the sooner we can move forward. Graham's already got buyers interested in the land. Don't get sentimental now. Adam. I'm not. Just saying we should be smart about it. Graham. Smart is fast. Wedding's perfect. Big crowd, emotional moment, everyone watching. He'll sign to avoid a scene. Natalie. And if he doesn't, I've got a backup plan. Trust me. I showed the screenshot to Lena. Watched her face go from pale to flushed red. They're going to ambush you at the wedding, she said. Looks like it. In front of everyone. They think you'll cave under public pressure. That's the play. She stood up, paced to the window, stared out at the dark street. What's the backup plan she mentioned? Don't know, but I can guess. Probably paint me as unstable, incompetent, unfit to run the business. Make it look like they're helping instead of stealing. Lena turned back to me. So, what are we going to do? I finished the bourbon, set the glass down carefully. I'm going to make a phone call. To who? Old friend, guy I served with, Rick Torrance. He's a regional safety and compliance inspector now. Industrial properties, construction sites, that sort of thing. What's he going to do? Nothing yet, but he owes me a favor from way back. And if I'm reading this right, Graham's construction projects might not be as clean as they look. Rick would know. And if he doesn't, he knows people who do. Lena came back to the table, sat down. This is going to get ugly. Yeah. Adam's our son. I know. But they're trying to take everything you've built. Everything we've built. Yeah. She reached across the table, took my hand. Her fingers were cold. Then let's burn them down. I called Rick the next morning, He picked up on the third ring, voice rough with sleep. Keller? Jesus, it's 7 in the morning. Need to ask you something. He yawned. Okay, asking. Graham Pike. He's local, runs Pike Construction and Renovation. You know him? Silence. Then, yeah, I know him. Why? He's working on that Riverside warehouse project, right? Converting the old Hutchins facility into loft apartments? He is, and? How clean is it? Another pause, longer this time. Grant, what are you into? Just answer the question. Can't talk about ongoing inspections, you know that. This isn't official. This is you telling an old friend whether he should keep his distance from someone. Rick sighed. Off the record? Off the record. Pike's got a reputation. Fast work, low bids, cuts corners where he thinks no one's looking. We've flagged 3 of his sites in the last 2 years. Nothing that stuck, but enough that we're watching. The Hutchins project? I've got concerns. Structural modifications that aren't matching the filed plans. Some questionable electrical work. If someone pushed the right buttons, we'd have cause to do a full inspection shutdown. What kind of someone? Someone with evidence. Photos, documentation, witnesses. Why? You got something? Not yet. But if I did, hypothetically, how fast could you move? Depends on what you've got. With solid evidence? 48 hours to initiate a site review. Week or 2 for full shutdown if violations are confirmed. And if the evidence came from someone connected to the property owner? You mean someone with financial stake? That'd be even faster. Conflict of interest allegations, potential fraud. We'd be on it immediately. Rick's voice sharpened. Grant, what the hell is going on? Can't talk about it yet, but I might need that favor, the one from Kandahar. That was 15 years ago. I know, but you said any time. Yeah, I did. He was quiet for a moment. You in trouble? Not yet. But I might be soon, and if I am, I'll call. When I do, I need you to move fast. How fast? Fast enough to walk into a wedding reception and hand someone papers. Rick laughed, low and dark. You're going to ruin someone's party. That's the idea. All right. You call? I move. But Grant? Whatever you're planning, make sure you're right. Because once I start, it's official. There's no taking it back. I'm right. Okay then, I'll be waiting. I hung up. Lena was watching me from the kitchen doorway. You just declared war, she said. Not yet. Just loaded the gun. They want my workshop? They're going to have to go through hell to get it. She smiled, thin and sharp. Good, because I'm really starting to hate our daughter-in-law. Get in line. The next week crawled by like a wounded animal. I worked in the shop, finished the Mustang manifold, started on a set of custom brackets for a motorcycle rebuild, kept my phone close. Adam didn't visit, didn't call. The silence was its own kind of message. Mia texted me twice more, once with another screenshot. Natalie in a different chat, telling someone that she'd been researching elder care facilities just in case. The other time with a photo from O'Malley's, Adam and Graham at a corner table, papers spread out between them, both looking serious. The timestamp was from 2 nights ago. They were planning. So was I. Lena came home from the pier on Thursday night with news. Ran into Graham's secretary at the grocery store. She was buying wine, lots of it. Said they're throwing a celebration party next week. Celebrating what? She didn't say, but she did mention that Graham's been in a great mood lately. Says he closed a big deal. What deal? She didn't know, or wouldn't say, but I got the feeling it involves property. I sat back in my chair. He sold the workshop. We don't know that. Don't we? Natalie's chat said he had buyers interested. Timeline's been moved up. They're celebrating something. What else would it be? Lena set down her groceries. You think he sold it before he even owns it? I think he lined up a buyer assuming he'd own it soon. Probably made promises. Took deposits maybe. Which means if the deal falls through, he's in deep. How deep? deep enough that a failed inspection on his main project would bury him. She smiled. You're enjoying this. Not yet. But I will be. The wedding was on Saturday. Big venue, one of those converted barn places with string lights and Pinterest-worthy decorations. Lena put on her good dress. I wore a suit I'd bought in 2003 and hoped still fit. It did, barely. We drove in silence, her hand on my knee. You ready? She asked. No. Me neither. But let's do it anyway. The parking lot was full. I recognized half the cars. Graham's crew, Natalie's corporate friends, extended family I hadn't seen in years. Everyone dressed nice, everyone smiling. Inside, the barn was decorated like something out of a magazine, white everywhere, flowers I couldn't name, a live band setting up in the corner, and at the center of it all, Adam in a tuxedo, looking like a stranger. Natalie was beside him, wearing a dress that probably cost more than my truck. She saw us arrive, whispered something to Adam. He nodded. They both smiled in our direction. The kind of smiles predators give prey before closing in. Here we go, Lena muttered. We found our seats. Back row, behind Graham's construction buddies and Natalie's office crew. The seating chart had our names in small print at the bottom, like afterthoughts. I saw Graham up front, talking to the photographer. He glanced back, saw me, gave a little wave. Friendly, casual, like he wasn't planning to steal my life. The ceremony was quick. Standard vows, tears from Natalie's mother, applause. Then the reception started, and the real show began. Dinner was served, expensive food that tasted like cardboard. The MC, some friend of Graham's, introduced the wedding party one by one, made Graham sound like a real estate mogul, called Natalie a rising star in HR, mentioned Adam's position at Crossroads Logistics like it was a Fortune 500 executive role. Then he got to me. And of course we have Grant Keller here, father of the groom. Grant's a local workshop owner. He said it with the kind of pity usually reserved for terminally ill relatives. Let's give him a hand. Scattered applause. Some people didn't even look up from their plates. Lena's hand found mine under the table, squeezed hard. After dinner, Graham stood up to give a toast, talked about family, talked about the future, talked about how lucky Adam was to join their family and how they were all going to build something great together. Never mentioned me by name, never mentioned the workshop. But the implication hung in the air like smoke. Then Natalie stood up. I want to thank everyone for being here, she said, all smiles and charm. This day means so much to us. And as we start this new chapter, Adam and I want to unite our families in every way possible. She looked at Adam. He nodded. They'd rehearsed this. Which is why, she continued, we've decided to officially merge our family businesses. Keller-Pike Fabrication is going to be the start of something incredible. Murmurs through the crowd, people nodding, Graham beaming. And to symbolize that union, Natalie said, turning to face our table directly, we'd like Grant to give us the keys to the workshop. Right here, right now, in front of everyone who loves us. A symbol of trust and family. The room went quiet. Every eye turned to me. I felt the weight of 150 people waiting for me to stand up, walk forward, hand over my life like a goddamn wedding gift. Lena's hand tightened on mine. I stood slowly. No, I said. Natalie blinked. I'm sorry? I said no. The workshop isn't part of your wedding. It's not a gift. It's not a symbol. It's mine. Her smile faltered. Grant, don't be difficult. This is supposed to be a happy moment. Then you shouldn't have tried to make it a hostile takeover. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Adam stood up, looking panicked. Dad, come on! Let's not do this here. Why not? You chose here. You chose now. You chose to make this public. I looked at Natalie. You want to study me? Want to figure out why I'm so stubborn? Here's your answer. I don't give up what's mine. Not to you, not to anyone. Graham stood up now, voice booming. Grant, you're making a scene. Am I? Or am I just refusing to play along with your scene? Natalie's face went red. You're being selfish. This is about family. No, this is about you wanting my property. There's a difference. You're impossible. She turned to the crowd, playing victim. He's impossible. We're trying to include him, to give him a comfortable retirement, and he's acting like we're criminals. You listed my workshop as collateral without my permission, I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. You took out a loan using my bank account. You've been planning to force me out for months. So yeah, I'm acting like you're criminals, because you are. The room erupted. Half the people talking at once, some standing, others pulling out phones. Adam tried to reach for me, but I stepped back. Lena stood beside me, solid as a wall. I pulled the workshop keys from my pocket, set them on the table in front of me, and not a second sooner. Then I walked out. Lena followed. Behind us, Natalie was shouting something. Adam was trying to calm her down. Graham was yelling at both of them. The MC was calling for order like this was a courtroom instead of a wedding reception. We made it to the parking lot. I pulled out my phone, dialed Rick's number. He answered immediately. Yeah? Do it, I said. You sure? I'm sure. Give me 30 minutes. I hung up, leaned against the truck. Lena stood next to me, both of us staring back at the barn where our son had just chosen his wife's family over us. There's no coming back from this, she said. I know. Are you okay? No. But I will be. We waited. Watched through the windows as the reception tried to restart. Watched Graham talking to Adam, both of them gesturing. Watched Natalie crying, her mother comforting her. Watched the guests slowly return to their tables, the music starting again, everyone pretending like nothing had happened. 28 minutes later, a dark sedan pulled into the parking lot. Rick got out, wearing his work jacket and carrying a manila envelope. He saw me, nodded once, then walked toward the barn entrance. Here we go, I said. Rick disappeared inside. We couldn't hear what happened next, but we could see it. Saw him approach Graham's table, saw Graham's face go from confused to pale, saw Rick hand him the envelope, saw Graham open it, read, then look up at Rick with something like horror. Natalie was standing now, reading over Graham's shoulder. Her face went white. What did Rick give them? Lena asked. Official notice. The Riverside Warehouse project is under immediate safety review. All work suspended pending full inspection. Anonymous complaint triggered it. They've got 72 hours to produce every permit, every modification plan, every inspection report. And if anything doesn't match up, the whole project gets shut down. Anonymous complaint. From who? Me. Sort of. Rick said if I could provide evidence of unsafe conditions connected to a stakeholder, they'd have to act. So I gave him everything I could find. Public records, photos from the street, testimony from a worker I talked to at O'Malley's who said they were cutting corners. It was enough. Lena watched as Graham stood up shouting at Rick. Rick stayed calm, pointed at something in the envelope. Graham sat back down, head in his hands. That project is his flagship, Lena said. If it shuts down, he loses everything. Yeah. And if he loses everything, he can't buy the workshop. Yeah. And if he can't buy the workshop, Adam and Natalie's whole plan falls apart. That's the idea. Inside, Natalie was having what looked like a breakdown. Adam was trying to comfort her, but she pushed him away. Graham was on his phone, shouting at someone. Rick walked back out, caught my eye, gave me a small salute, then got in his car and left. The wedding reception was officially over. Lena and I drove home in silence. When we pulled into the driveway, she finally spoke. That was just the opening move, wasn't it? Yeah. What's next? Now we see what they do when they're desperate. That's when people make mistakes. She looked at me. You've changed. In the last week, you've changed. Had to. They wanted my workshop, so I became someone they couldn't take it from. Who's that? Someone who fights back. We went inside, poured bourbon, sat at the kitchen table and waited for the fallout. It came at 3 a.m. My phone rang. Adam. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again and again. On the 5th call, I answered. What? Dad. His voice was wrecked. Dad, what did you do? I protected what's mine. Graham's project is shut down. Completely shut down. He could lose millions. Natalie's family is going to be ruined. Not my problem. It is your problem. They were trying to help us, help you, by stealing from me. It wasn't stealing, it was business. Then it was bad business. Should have done their homework. Should have made sure their flagship project was clean before trying to expand. You did this on purpose. You sabotaged them. I reported safety violations. That's all. If their project was clean, they'd have nothing to worry about. You destroyed my wedding. You destroyed my marriage. No, son. You did that when you chose to betray me. I just made sure you knew there were consequences. Silence. Then, I hate you. I know. But you'll get over it, or you won't. Either way, the workshop stays mine. I hung up, turned off my phone. Lena was watching me from the bedroom doorway. That sounded rough, she said. It was. You okay? No, but I will be. She came to sit beside me. What did he say? He hates me. He's hurt and scared. His whole plan just collapsed. Good. Maybe now he'll learn that some things aren't for sale. Grant. She touched my face, made me look at her. You just went to war with our son. He went to war with me first. I just fired back. But he's our son. I know, but that doesn't mean I have to let him win. She leaned against me, and we sat there in the dark, listening to the house settle around us. Outside, the world was quiet. Inside, everything had changed. What happens next? She asked. They'll regroup, try a different angle, probably come at me harder. And you? I'll be ready. She pulled back, looked at me. You're really going to do this? Fight them all the way? All the way. Even if it means losing Adam? I thought about that. Thought about my son as a kid, hanging around the workshop, asking questions, learning to use a socket wrench. Thought about the man he'd become, standing beside his wife's family, looking at me like I was an obstacle instead of his father. I already lost him, I said. Now I'm just making sure he doesn't take me down with him. Lena nodded. Then we fight. We fight. We finished our bourbon, went to bed, lay there not sleeping, both of us staring at the ceiling, waiting for dawn and whatever came after. The war had started, and I intended to win. Before we go any further, hit the hype button, take a second to subscribe and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? The workshop felt different when I opened it Monday morning. Same tools, same oil-stained floor, same coffee maker that made everything taste like rust. But knowing my son wanted to take it all away changed the air somehow, made every corner feel more mine, more precious, more worth defending. I'd gotten 2 hours of sleep, kept replaying the wedding, the look on Adam's face when I said no, the way Natalie's expression had shifted from sweetness to venom in half a second. Kept hearing my son's voice on the phone. I hate you. Coffee helped. I made it strong enough to strip paint and got to work on a custom bracket set for a Harley rebuild. Focusing on the metal helped. Numbers didn't lie. Torque specs didn't betray you. Steel either held or it broke. No middle ground, no manipulation. Around 10, someone banged on the workshop door. Not a knock, a bang. I set down the angle grinder and walked over, already knowing who it was. Adam stood in the doorway, still wearing yesterday's tuxedo pants and a wrinkled dress shirt. He looked like he'd been awake all night. Good. So had I. We need to talk, he said. No, we don't. Dad, please. Just 5 minutes. I stepped aside. He came in, looked around like he was seeing the place for the first time, or maybe seeing it as the prize he couldn't have anymore. "This is about what happened at the wedding," he started. "Yeah, I figured. You humiliated us, Natalie's family, me, everyone, in front of 150 people. You tried to steal my workshop in front of 150 people. I just didn't let you." "It wasn't stealing," his voice cracked. "God, why can't you see this? We were trying to include you, to build something bigger. You're so stuck in the past, you can't see the future." "I see the future fine. In your future, I don't own this building anymore. I work for you and Natalie and Graham, making parts on your schedule for your profit, until you decide I'm too old and push me out completely. That about right?" Adam's jaw worked. "We were going to take care of you. I don't need taken care of. I need to be left alone." "You're being selfish." "I'm being smart." "No, you're being scared. Scared of change, scared of progress, scared of admitting that maybe, just maybe, someone else might have a better idea than you." I picked up the grinder, turned it over in my hands. "You know what this is?" "A grinder. It's a Makita 9564CV. Bought it in 2007. I've rebuilt it twice, replaced the brushes 4 times, and it still cuts like the day I got it. You know why? Dad. Because I take care of what's mine. I maintain it. I don't throw it away when something newer comes along. I make it work. That's what you never understood, Adam. Everything worth having requires work, requires loyalty, requires showing up even when it's hard. I show up. You showed up with a contract and your father-in-law's plans. That's not showing up. That's showing out." He turned away, hands in his hair. "Natalie's destroyed. Her family's project is shut down because of you. Graham might lose everything. They're talking about lawsuits, bankruptcy, I don't even know what else. And Natalie's mother keeps calling, screaming about how we married into a family of saboteurs." "Then maybe you married into the wrong family." He spun back. "She's my wife. And I'm your father, but you didn't think about that when you were planning to push me out." "We weren't." He stopped. Couldn't finish the lie. "Yeah," I said. "That's what I thought." Adam moved to the workbench, picked up one of the brackets I'd been working on, studied it like he used to when he was a kid. "I remember making these. You taught me. I was, 12? 11. You were so patient. Even when I screwed up the measurements, you never yelled, just showed me how to fix it. You were a good student. I wanted to be like you." He set the bracket down. "But then I grew up and realized you're stuck here, in this building, in this town, doing the same thing year after year, never changing, never growing. I didn't want that life. So you tried to take mine instead?" "I tried to improve it. Without asking, without permission. You tried to take what I built and turn it into something else, something I didn't choose. How is that improvement?" "Because you would have said no, just like you said no at the wedding. You always say no. To bad ideas, yeah." He laughed, bitter. "See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're impossible to work with, impossible to help. You'd rather die in this workshop than admit you might need someone." "I don't need someone. I need my son. But he's been gone for a while now." Adam's face went pale. "That's not fair. Isn't it? When's the last time you came here just to visit? Not to pitch a business plan, not to ask for money, not to suggest improvements. Just to visit. Just to talk." He didn't answer. "That's what I thought," I said again. "I've been busy. Work is always busy. Life is always busy. But you make time for what matters. And apparently, I don't matter anymore." "That's not true." "Then prove it. Walk away from this, from Natalie's family's plans, from the workshop takeover, from all of it. Come back here and just be my son again." He looked at me for a long moment. I saw something in his eyes, something that looked like the kid he used to be. For half a second I thought he might actually do it. Then he shook his head. "I can't." "Why not?" "Because Natalie needs this. Because we took out loans we can't repay without the workshop equity. Because Graham's project collapsing means we need another revenue stream and fast. Because if I walk away now, I lose everything. No. If you walk away now, you save yourself. The workshop was never yours to lose. You only lose what you try to steal. It's not stealing, he was shouting now. You're my father. What's yours should be mine eventually anyway. Eventually. Not when I'm standing right here, still capable of running my own business. You're almost 60, and I'll work until I'm 70 if I want. That's my choice, not yours. Adam grabbed the bracket, threw it across the room. It clanged against a tool cabinet, left a dent. Fine. Keep your precious workshop. Die here alone, surrounded by your machines, with no one to pass it to because you pushed everyone away. See if I care. I didn't push you away. You left. Big difference. I left because staying meant being stuck like you. This isn't about stubbornness. This is about theft. You tried to take from me. I stopped you. Simple as that. Nothing's simple with you. He headed for the door, stopped halfway. Natalie was right. You're a control freak. You need to own everything, including me. I don't want to own you. I just don't want you to own me. He left without another word. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the windows. I stood there, listening to his car peel out of the parking lot, and felt something in my chest crack a little. Not break, just crack, like metal under too much stress, developing a fault line that would widen over time until the whole piece failed. I picked up the bracket he'd thrown. The dent would need to be hammered out. Fixable, but scarred, kind of like everything else right now. My phone rang. Lena. How'd it go? She asked. Bad. He didn't back down? No. Said he can't. Loans, commitments, Natalie needs it. All the usual excuses. So what now? Now I get back to work. And I wait to see what they do next. Grant. Her voice softened. You okay? No. But I will be. Want me to come by after work? Yeah. Bring dinner. I'm not leaving the shop today. Okay. I'll see you around 6. And Grant? Yeah? I'm proud of you. For standing your ground. Thanks. Doesn't feel great, but thanks. I hung up and went back to the bracket. Work helped. It always did. The metal didn't judge, didn't betray, just held or broke, clean and simple. Around noon, Mia showed up with sandwiches from the deli down the street. Heard you had a rough morning, she said, setting the bag on my workbench. News travels fast. Small town. And Adam stopped by O'Malley's before coming here. Looked like hell. Ordered 3 whiskeys before lunch and told anyone who'd listened that his dad ruined his life. Great. Hey, for what it's worth, half the bar thinks you did the right thing. Other half thinks you're both idiots. But my tip jar's been better since people started debating it, so thanks for the entertainment. I almost smiled. Glad my family drama's profitable for someone? She sat on the stool Adam used to use, unwrapped her sandwich. Roast beef, extra mustard. She knew what I liked. Uncle Grant, can I ask you something? Sure. Are you going to back down? Give them the workshop just to make peace? No. Even if it means losing Adam for good? I don't think I have him anymore anyway. Not the version I raised. That kid's gone. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe. But I'm not holding my breath. She ate in silence for a minute. Then, I've got something you should see, didn't want to text it. She pulled out her phone, showed me a new screenshot. Different group chat, this one including several names I didn't recognize. But I saw Natalie's profile picture. Natalie. Plan B. If Grant won't cooperate voluntarily, we force his hand legally. Unknown. Contact. How? Natalie. Mental competency evaluation. I work in HR. I know the process. We document erratic behavior, get statements from witnesses, petition the court for a competency hearing. If he's declared unfit, Adam becomes legal guardian, assumes control of assets. Graham. Will that work? Natalie. If we build the right case, and we will. He gave us plenty of ammunition at the wedding. My hands went cold. When was this? Last night. Around midnight. They're going to try to get me declared incompetent. Looks like it. I set down my sandwich, no longer hungry. Can they do that? I don't know. I'm a bartender, not a lawyer, but it sounds pretty messed up. It's beyond messed up. It's evil. Yeah. So what are you going to do? I thought about it. Thought about Natalie's smug face, Adam's desperation, Graham's greed. Thought about them sitting in some conference room, plotting to paint me as a crazy old man who couldn't be trusted with his own life. I'm going to document everything, I said. Every conversation, every threat, every attempt to manipulate or coerce. If they want to play legal games, I'll make sure I've got evidence they're the ones breaking the law. You want me to keep sending screenshots? Please. Anything you see, send it. And if you hear anything at the bar, anything at all, let me know. You got it. She finished her sandwich, stood up. Uncle Grant, for what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. They're bullies. And bullies only stop when someone fights back. Thanks, kid. Also, Mom says to tell you she's on your side. Dad, too. If you need anything, we're here. Tell them I appreciate it. After she left, I called Lena back. Told her about the screenshot, the plan for a competency hearing. They're going to try to paint me as unstable, I said. Use the wedding scene, probably twist my words, get people to testify I'm losing it. We'll fight it. We'll get a lawyer. With what money? I've got savings, but legal fights are expensive, and they know that. They're counting on me not being able to afford a prolonged battle. Then we find another way. I'm open to suggestions. She was quiet for a moment. Then, I've been looking at something. Remember how I said I saw those preliminary loan documents? Yeah. I did some digging, called in a favor with a friend who works at First National. Adam and Graham's loan? It's a bridge loan, short-term, high interest. They used projections for Keller-Pike Fabrication as justification. Without the workshop equity, those projections are worthless, which means the loan is unsupported. So if the bank finds out the collateral doesn't exist, they can call the loan immediately. Adam and Graham would have to pay back everything within 30 days or face default. How much are we talking? Based on what I saw, probably around 200,000, maybe more. I whistled. That would bury them. It would, and all it takes is an anonymous tip to the bank's fraud department. That's playing dirty. They tried to steal your workshop and declare you incompetent. I'd say dirty's on the table. She was right. I hated that she was right, but she was. Let me think about it, I said. Okay, but don't think too long. They're moving fast. We need to move faster. That night, Lena came by with Chinese takeout and a bottle of wine. We ate in the workshop, sitting on old stools, surrounded by the smell of metal and grease. She'd changed out of her work clothes into jeans and a sweatshirt. Looked more like the woman I'd married, less like the polished version she had to be at the pier. This place always smells the same, she said. That a complaint? No, just an observation. It's comforting, in a weird way, like nothing changes here. Everything changes, just slower. You think Adam will really go through with it, the competency thing? I think Natalie will push him to, and he'll do it because he's desperate and he's in too deep to back out now. He's our son. I know. But we're really going to fight him? We're going to fight what he's trying to do. There's a difference. She sipped her wine. Is there? Because from where I'm sitting, it feels like we're at war with our own kid. He declared war first. That makes it okay? No, but it makes it necessary. We ate in silence for a while. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the workshop walls orange and gold. I'd always loved this time of day. When the work was done, the tools were clean, and everything felt possible. I miss him, Lena said quietly. The kid he used to be. The one who'd sit here and ask you questions about everything. Why does metal get hot when you grind it? How do you know which size wrench to use? Can I try? I miss him too. Do you think we'll ever get him back? I don't know. Maybe. But not until he learns that you can't take from people and expect them to forgive you. That's a hard lesson. Best ones usually are. She leaned against me. Promise me something. What? Promise me that when this is over, whatever happens, we'll still be us. That they won't break us. They won't. How do you know? Because we're stronger than they think, and because I love you more than I hate what they're trying to do. She kissed me. Soft, tired but real. Okay, then let's burn them down. Yeah, let's. We finished dinner, cleaned up, locked the workshop, drove home in comfortable silence. That night, I slept better than I had in days. Not because things were good, but because we had a plan. The next morning, I found a formal letter in my mailbox. Heavy paper, official letterhead. From a law firm I'd never heard of. The letter was polite, professional, and completely terrifying. Dear Mr. Keller, this letter serves as formal notice of concern regarding your mental and financial competency. Recent behavior, including a public altercation at a family event and documented erratic decision-making regarding business matters, has prompted questions about your ability to manage your affairs. In the interest of your well-being and that of your family, we recommend a voluntary competency evaluation by a qualified medical professional. Should you decline, we will be forced to petition the court for a mandatory evaluation under State Statute 475.075. Please contact this office within 10 business days to schedule an evaluation or provide evidence of existing medical clearance. Sincerely, Patterson and Howe Legal Services. I read it twice. Then I called Lena. They sent me a letter, official one, lawyer's office, threatening a competency evaluation. When did you get it? Just now. Must have been delivered yesterday while we were at the shop. What does it say? I read it to her. Heard her breathing get faster. They're really doing this, she said. Yeah. We need a lawyer, a real one, today. I don't know any lawyers. I do. Remember Tim Bradford? Used to come to the pier with his kids. He's a defense attorney. Not exactly this type of case, but he'll know who to call. Okay, set it up. I will. And Grant? Yeah? Don't talk to anyone about this. Not Adam, not Natalie, not even Mia. Anything you say can be twisted and used against you. I know. I'm serious. They're building a case. Every word matters now. I understand. I hung up, looked at the letter again, saw the words erratic decision-making, and wanted to punch something. But I didn't, because that's exactly what they'd want. Evidence of instability. Proof I couldn't control my temper. So I took a picture of the letter, saved it to a new folder on my phone called Evidence. Then I went to the workshop and got to work. If they wanted a war, I'd give them one. But I'd fight smart, calculated, cold, the way they'd taught me to. Wednesday morning felt different. Not better exactly, just quieter. The legal threat was gone, the competency case withdrawn, the workshop secure. But the silence left behind was heavy. No calls from Adam, no threatening visits from Graham. Just nothing. I opened the shop at 7, same as always. Made coffee, checked the work orders, fired up the lathe. The Harley bracket set was due Friday. A carburetor rebuild for a 72 Chevelle needed to start today. Work was the same. Everything else had changed. Around 9, Mia showed up with bagels and news. Town's buzzing, she said, setting breakfast on my workbench. Graham's company officially suspended operations. Bank called his loans. He's filing bankruptcy. That was fast. 3 weeks from top of the world to broke. People are talking. Some feel bad for him. Most are saying he had it coming. What about Adam? She hesitated. He's still employed. Barely. Probation for another 90 days. But word is Natalie's parents are furious, blaming him for everything. He didn't do everything. No, But he went along with it. That's almost worse. I ate my bagel, tasted like cardboard. Any word on Natalie? She's laying low. Left town for a while, staying with family upstate. Smart, considering half the bar wants to throw drinks at her after that video leaked. It leaked? Overnight. Someone posted it on the town Facebook group. It's everywhere now. Natalie Pike trying to fake a competency case against her father-in-law. People are pissed. I set down the bagel. I didn't want it to go public. Too late now. Small town. Big scandal. This is going to follow her for years. Good, part of me thought. The rest of me just felt tired. Thanks for the update, I said. Uncle Grant? She looked at me seriously. You okay? Like, really okay? I won. That's something. That's not an answer. It's the only one I've got right now. She left. I tried to work. Managed to finish one bracket before my mind wandered. Kept thinking about Adam, about where he was, what he was thinking. Kept wondering if he hated me as much as he'd said, or if some part of him understood why I'd fought back. My phone rang. Unknown number again. I let it go to voicemail. The message was from Natalie's lawyer. Mr. Keller, this is Martin Howe from Patterson & Howe. We've officially withdrawn all claims. I'm calling to personally apologize for our involvement in this matter. After reviewing the evidence, it's clear our client misrepresented the situation. We should have done more due diligence. Please accept our apologies and know that we will not be pursuing any further action. I saved the message. Lawyers apologizing. That was new. Lena called around noon. Just got off the phone with Dr. Reeves. She said the competency report's officially closed. You're clear. No flags, no ongoing concerns, nothing. That's good. You don't sound happy. I'm relieved. That's different. Grant, we need to talk about what happens next. What do you mean? I mean, we've been in survival mode for weeks. Now that's over. We need to figure out what normal looks like again. Normal's the workshop, same as always. And Adam? What about him? Are we just never talking to him again? Never seeing him? Pretending we don't have a son? He's the one who tried to take everything from us. I know. But he's still our son. That doesn't just go away because we're angry. Lena, I'm not saying forgive him. I'm not saying pretend it didn't happen. But at some point, we need to decide if we're leaving the door open or closing it forever. And that's a decision we can't take back. He tried to declare me incompetent, tried to steal my life's work. And you want me to leave the door open? I want you to think about it. That's all. Don't make permanent decisions based on temporary anger. This isn't temporary. Maybe not, but it might become something different with time. Just think about it, okay? Okay. But I didn't want to think about it. Thinking hurt. Working was easier. That afternoon, I got a visitor I wasn't expecting. Rick Torrance, the inspector who'd helped me shut down Graham's project. He walked into the workshop carrying 2 coffees. Figured you could use this, he said, handing me one. Thanks. Heard the legal stuff wrapped up? Yeah, they folded. Good, they should have. What they tried to pull was garbage. We stood there drinking coffee, not saying much. Rick was good at comfortable silence, always had been. You want to tell me what's really eating you? He asked finally. I won. Yeah, I got that. But you look like someone who lost. My son was part of it. He was in on it, helping them. And now he's probably never going to speak to me again. You think that's your fault? I don't know what it is. Rick set down his coffee. Grant, listen, I've known you 20 years. You're a lot of things. Stubborn, sometimes too independent for your own good. Definitely too attached to this place. But you're not cruel. And you're not wrong for defending what's yours. Doesn't feel that way. It never does. You know how many families I've seen destroyed by fights like this? Inheritance disputes, business disagreements, property lines? Dozens. And you know what the common thread is. One side tries to take advantage, the other fights back, and everyone acts like the person defending themselves is the villain. So what do? You live your life. You keep this shop running, and you wait. If Adam's got any sense, he'll realize eventually that you were protecting yourself, not attacking him. If he doesn't, then that's on him. And if he never comes around, then you'll have lost something valuable. But you'll still have your dignity and your workshop. Sometimes that has to be enough. He finished his coffee, clapped me on the shoulder. I've got to get back. But Grant, you did good. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. After he left, I stood in the workshop alone, looked around at the tools, the workbenches, the machines I'd maintained for decades. This place was mine, bought and paid for, built with my own hands, my own sweat, my own years. No one could take it now. But it felt emptier than it used to, like winning had cost something I hadn't realized I'd lose. Thursday, the bank investigation wrapped up. Tim called with the news. Graham's being charged with fraud, multiple counts, misrepresentation of assets, false documentation, the works. He's looking at fines, possible jail time depending on how the prosecutor feels. What about Adam? They're calling him a cooperating witness. Says he was misled by Graham and Natalie about the workshop ownership. He's off the hook criminally, but the loan's still in default. He owes his half, and the bank's calling it in. How much? 100 and change after interest. He's got 90 days to pay or they take everything. His car, his savings, his credit. Everything. $100,000. Adam didn't have that kind of money. Can they really take everything? I asked. Yeah, it's secured debt. When you default, they liquidate assets to recover their loss. And there's nothing he can do? He could declare bankruptcy. That'd protect some assets. But it'd destroy his credit for 7 years. Working in logistics with bankrupted credit? I sat down. So he's ruined either way. Pretty much. Graham dragged him into this mess, and now Graham's going to prison while Adam's left holding the bag. That's not right. No, but it's legal. After Tim hung up, I just sat there. Thought about Adam at 8 years old, learning to use a socket wrench. Thought about him at 16, changing oil on his first car while I supervised. Thought about him at 22, getting his degree, proud as hell, me prouder. Thought about him at 29, standing in a wedding hall, demanding my keys. The phone rang. Adam. I stared at it for 5 rings. Answered on the 6th. What? Dad. His voice was hollow. Can we talk? We're talking. In person, please. Why? Because I need to say something, and I need to say it to your face. I almost said no. Almost hung up, but something in his voice stopped me. Workshop. 1 hour. Come alone. He showed up 53 minutes later. Looked like hell. Unshaven, clothes wrinkled, eyes red. He stood in the doorway like he wasn't sure if he was allowed in. Come in, I said. He did. Looked around like he was seeing the place for the first time in years. Maybe he was. I'm sorry, he said. For all of it. The plan, the loan, the competency case. I'm sorry. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say? That I forgive you? That we're good now? I don't know. Something. Anything other than okay. I set down my wrench. You tried to take my workshop. You stood by while your wife planned to declare me incompetent. You called me selfish, stubborn, cruel. You said you hated me. So yeah. Okay. What else is there? I was wrong about all of it. I thought we were helping. I thought we were building something. But really we were just being greedy. And I let Natalie and Graham convince me it was okay because it was family. Like family gives you the right to take from each other. It doesn't. I know that now. Little late. I know that too. He looked at his hands. The bank's calling the loan. I owe $100,000 I don't have. Graham's going to prison. Natalie's family won't speak to her. And my job's on probation. In 3 months I'll probably be unemployed, broke, and living in my car. Why are you telling me this? Because I wanted you to know. Wanted you to hear me say I understand why you fought back. I don't blame you. I'd have done the same thing if someone tried to take from me what we tried to take from you. But you didn't think about that before. No, I didn't. I just thought about what I wanted, what Natalie wanted, what Graham promised. Never thought about what it would cost you, or me. We stood there in silence. Outside, a car drove by. Someone laughed. Normal sounds from a normal day in a town that didn't know or care about our problems. What do you want from me? I asked. Nothing. I don't deserve anything from you. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, and that you were right. About what? About everything. The workshop, standing your ground, fighting back. You did what you had to do, and I hate that it came to this, but I understand it. You understand it now, after you lost. Yeah, I'm a slow learner. Almost smiled at that. Almost. What are you going to do? I don't know. Figure out how to pay the bank, I guess. Sell my car, sell everything, declare bankruptcy if I have to. Start over. Where? Somewhere else. Can't stay here. Too many people know what happened. Every time I go to the store, I see people looking at me. Judging. They should judge. You tried to scam your own father. I know. But living with that every day is harder than I thought. Good. Maybe you'll learn something. He nodded. I should go. Yeah. He walked to the door, stopped. Dad, I really am sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything. But I mean it. I know. And I know I don't have the right to ask this, but if I get my life together, if I figure out how to be better, could we maybe, I don't know, talk again, someday? I looked at him. My son. The kid I'd raised, the man who'd betrayed me. The person standing in my workshop asking for forgiveness I wasn't sure I could give. Maybe, I said. Someday, but not now. Okay, that's fair. He left. I stood there watching through the window as he got in his car and drove away. Felt that crack in my chest widen a little more. Lena called 5 minutes later. Adam just left. He looked upset. He apologized. And I said maybe someday we could talk. Not now, someday. That's progress. Is it? Or is it just delaying the inevitable? I don't know, but at least the door's not completely closed. No, just mostly closed. Grant, that's the best we can do right now. He heard us. We heard him back. Everyone needs time. How much time? As much as it takes. I went home early that night. Lena made dinner. We ate in silence, both thinking about Adam, about what happened, about what might happen next. Do you think he'll be okay? She asked. Eventually. He's smart. He'll figure it out. But not here. No, not here. Too many bridges burned. And us? We'll be okay too. We have the workshop. We have each other. That's enough. Is it? It has to be. That night I couldn't sleep again. Kept replaying Adam's apology. Kept wondering if I should have said more, should have offered to help, should have been the bigger person. But I also kept remembering the wedding, the letter from the lawyers, Natalie's confession on video. Kept remembering all the ways they'd tried to destroy me. Maybe someday I'd forgive him. Maybe someday we'd rebuild what was broken. But not today. Today, I just needed to survive. And surviving meant protecting what was mine, even if it cost me my son. Around 3, I got up, went to the workshop, turned on the lights, fired up the lathe, started working on the Chevelle carburetor. The metal was cold, the work was hard, and my hands were steady. This was real. This was mine. This was enough. It had to be.